everyone. So I'm Lisa. I'm an independent researcher in Naturalis, and I want to talk about object biographies today. This is a way of looking at our collections. But before I do that, I want to talk about some of the reasons why we might need a new way of looking at our collections. So it falls into a couple of different categories. The first one is a lack of knowledge. So that could just mean lacking information on our specimen labels, but it also means dealing with collection biases. So objects were collected and researched based on personal preferences of people working at the museums or the socio-political environment that these museums were in, which means that our collections are a reflection of the past. And we should probably think of, do these collections still represent our needs in the present? Some other issues that are being recognized as important nowadays are also local knowledge and cultural importance of our collections. This also falls in line with decolonializing our collections as well. And finally, there's also the value of our natural world and the impact that humans have had on it. So we want to both research and explain the importance of these subjects to the public as well. So these are some of the issues and some of the questions that we might have within naturalist collections. Then how do we address these things? I am saying that these object biographies might not be the answer to everything, but it's a way of looking at the collections that could be an answer. So what are object biographies? Within the field of archaeology and material culture, object biographies are a way of looking at objects. The basic of this is that objects have many different stories, and every person who interacts with these objects tells a different story of what these objects are and what they mean. So the different context actually explains the meaning of an object. This is throughout time and place as well. And in order to understand objects fully, we need to look at it in different contexts. So this creates networks of meaning in which this object means different things in different contexts. And within an object biography, you write a life story of an object from maybe in a naturalist collection when it was living to the place it has in the collection right now and everything in between. There are a couple of different types of data in different contexts that you can use to write this object biography. So I've kind of made an example here that you can see. One of these contexts is the scientific context, which is very present in collections nowadays. So scientific name and taxonomy, things that we are pretty familiar with. But other descriptions are important as well. So just a common description, which is how people just generally interact with these objects in the world and in the public. Physical descriptions and how these collections have fared throughout the collection use, what stories have they tried to tell with them, what exhibits have they been in, what types of research have they been used for. And you can see that I've also included tags here, which means that there's a different way of writing object biography, not just in a life story from A to Z, but also in creating these networks of meaning in your database. So you could create tags for different contexts and make, for example, a species tag. And you could just tag that species and have all the information resting under that tag. So you could make a tag for an exhibit as well, and then you can create all these contexts within your database. So it's not just a way of researching, it's also a way of storing your data and explaining this data to the public. Now, there's a couple of different reasons for why these object biographies can be important in expressing knowledge to the public as well. So it's not just the meaning that we've given in the past, or that the scientific meaning or the Western meaning that we give to these objects, it's every meaning, which means that the public that is visiting these exhibits, their meaning is valuable as well. And so you can create more personal stories with objects. And through these more personal stories, you can also explain the importance of specific objects or specific stories as well. This means that things like climate change can become closer to the public through telling their story through object biographies and through explaining the history of these objects as well. So the future is maybe a linked data network in which all of our collections are not just linked to each other, but are linked to these different contexts that we think are important. So object biographies enable the creation more diverse and more inclusive exhibits, as all contexts and all meanings and all viewpoints are valuable. And it also enables a more personal interaction with the subject. So yeah, it's why I think we should use object biographies, not just within material culture, but also within interest.